man. You looking like the devil who created you.
Yeah. Yeah. You looking like the devil who created you. What's up, everybody?
Sorry.
Welcome to another professional, oh so professional, episode of the OZone Live. As always, I'm your special host, Boy Oz. And we have the superstar that just premiered her first solo episode just a little bit ago. We have Jena with us, and congrats, and that was fucking awesome.
Thank you. I wasn't nervous at all.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, babe, I'm nervous. No, thank you. Seriously. Again, like I had told you before, it took me like a year to just even think and develop a concept of what the fuck I wanted to do and why. And I finally found a reason and a purpose. And so there you go. I'm happy that I finally, kicked myself in the ass enough to get it off the ground, out of my head, and actually on screen and stuff. So it's hard work. It's, what do they say? A labor of love. There you go. It was hard work. Yeah. Thank you to Scott, especially. And like it's nothing if I don't, have someone to talk to. So yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was yeah, don't sleep on Jena, like Pastor Mike said in the chat. She's fierce on them cuts. She's fierce in that editing game, flexing them muscles. Yeah. Body shots.
Beefy.
But no, great job. The whole thing was awesome. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on announcements because we're starting late because I spilled an entire glass of iced tea before we get on. I had to clean up, so that's the reason for today's late start. Not that we don't start fucking late every time, but every once in a while you need a good excuse. Biddy asks, did you learn the most effective way to beat children at your home group tonight? We're going to talk a little bit about that, and then what ensued after said home group / small group / whatever the fuck they're called. Tonight has been interesting for me because a lot of the things we'll get into, I personally know these people. I quote unquote did ministry with these people. So it started with something that was very, very angering and parts of it triggering for me. It went from that to I went and was looking up what these guys were up to now. Oh man. Oh, I was like, well, I was on the phone with Jena when I pulled it up. I was like, what the fuck? What, like, I was literally shell shocked.
Yeah. You were going through a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's some crazy ass shit, y'all. It's some crazy ass shit. So, and I want to say this, but I also want to make sure there's to be honest and to be fair here. I want to make sure I parcel these two things out. So, yeah, we'll talk better at the end of the stream. Let's just get into it. So, so we're going to show not the whole thing, but a part of this video. Oh man, I got to go even further back how it even started tonight. So Monday nights it's like 6:30 or 7:00 p.m. our time. My stepdad and a guy that I've known my entire life almost host a small group or home group, whatever, like I said, whatever the fuck we call them now, here at my stepdad's house. And I've actually sat in on several of them. And I mean, you guys would never guess this, but I like to kind of ask the tough questions and maybe not stir the pot a little bit. tonight was different. They showed a video tonight, which we're going to watch a part of. Now, I know this pastor. When I saw his face, I was like, I know him. How do I know him? And then that's what caused me to start looking things up. I was like, oh, that's Josh. How did I forget Josh? And then the shit I found on Josh was like, what the actual fuck? Then it went from Josh to another very close friend of my brother's and someone that I knew. Then my brother's best friend is involved. And I'm like, holy fuck. Like now this is hitting really close to home because I know these people, right? And they don't pastor small churches. And we'll get into some of the articles or literature, whatever, here a little later. But I was like, this is supposed to be some of the most progressive, what's the word? Definitely progressive, but you're very liberal, live, let live type churches. And they're doing the same shit.
Bullshit.
They're doing the same shit. It's now just disguised behind this. Everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. I don't know if this was a thing for the network, which I'll get to the network here in a second. If this was a motto or moniker or whatever that my brother created. But he always said from the pulpit, this is a place where you can belong before you believe. But anyway, so it is very much that line of thinking, right? Just very progressive, very open arms. Where everybody, peace, love, happiness, live and let live type shit, right? So it's the same abusive powers behind this from what I could find researching tonight, in the short couple hours I had, it's still the same patriarchy where it's all men. It's all men calling the shots. It's all men at the top, even down to the churches, not just the network, but even in the churches. I couldn't find a single pastor anywhere in ARC that was not a man. But yet they're supposed to be the inclusive,
right?
Progressive, liberal, all that shit. And before we show the video, I do want to say that a couple things. One, some of the things in the video may be triggering for you. There's a couple things that come up that definitely were triggering for me that Pastor Josh very, very plainly and very, very clearly promotes child abuse. Now he wouldn't frame it that way, obviously, but that's exactly what he's doing. And the foreign object or objects that he uses for the example or for real life, probably, because I would assume if he's using it for an example behind a pulpit and a message, that's probably his method of correction, right? But that's an assumption. I don't have any evidence to support that. So I will say that, and I also want to say that because being a skeptic, when I saw this and I saw all these names that I know that my little brother's associated with, the first thing I did after that is Googled my brother's name, and it's sad and it's sick that that's what logically follows. Is my mom all the time when I was young, and I was like, that's bullshit, but man, it rains and it rings true. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And my first thing was like, okay, I don't want to assume, and I'm not going to assume that he would do that. But now, based on what I'm seeing and hearing, now I have to check, because these are all the guys that you quote unquote do business with, that you do
Right.
life with. These are your mentors, right? So I have to do that. So I want to make sure I'm very clear when I say this. The things that I'll bring up, and these are, and he is in that inner circle. I won't deny that. But there's nothing that I could find online and within the family I've not heard, of anything. So I want to make sure that I separate that until I have reason to say otherwise. I don't want to say, because these guys are doing these atrocious, disgusting
Right.
acts and doing these disgusting things to other people. Therefore, my brother's doing it. But what I will say, to be consistent with, what I say about Christians and atheists alike, you unfortunately sometimes are guilty by association, especially when you're in a group of people that are doing. It's not just one person, one standalone person fucks up. It's your whole group is fucking up, and you're part of that. And yeah, Pastor Mike, these mentors though,
Truth.
they get these. But yeah, let's pull up the video. Like I said, we're not going to watch the whole thing. There's just a couple pieces that we're going to watch. Now, this is going to jump right back into the patriarchal. I can never say that right. Say how do I say that? I'm fucking myself up. You guys know what I'm saying. Huh?
What?
Patriarchal. There we go.
Patriarchy?
Sure. Yep. This is I'm a high school dropout, so fuck you
I
guys.
didn't know that's what you were trying to say.
I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point.
Okay.
But it goes back to, thank you, Biddy Buddha. All right. Everybody, let's do this. And we're doing this for me. I am not patronizing anybody but me right now. Patriarchal. Boom. Nailed it.
Patriarchal.
That's just like some anecdotal. Bitches. No, I'm kidding. But this video goes back to, so the title of this video by Pastor Josh. Anyway, Pastor Josh, that's what they call him. Mauni, thank you. My brain had to catch up. The name of this message is Fight Like a Man. And the whole thing is toxic. The whole thing is fucked up. The entire fucking thing is fucked up. And
I mean,
are we surprised? But so I'll throw a little bit of this clip in there. It's the whole message is like 37 minutes long, but we're not watching the whole 37 minutes. I want to get to one particular part. I want to get to one particular part, and then I want to go to where that, once I heard that and I started digging into, hey, what are these guys up to? I remember these guys, and then it all fucking blew up. So give me 1 second. Let me pull this up.
Man, I'm so honored to be here on Father's Day. It's actually, it's not a small thing that I'm here, because I am a daddy. And today was my day. Today was my day. I should have been at the house getting some pancakes in bed. But I'm glad to be here. I want to show you my little family. We've got now 4 babies. Yeah, check that out. We got Jacob, Lily, Annabelle, and Vivian, and little Zoe. Annabelle. And if you don't have one, or you maybe, and I'll see you next Sunday. And I didn't want to beat you up, dads, because I get it. I'm some small group matchups. And we know just enough like Christian ease to like get out of stuff. And guys, it's like, man, it just really hurt my heart, Pastor, when you said that. I'm like, be a grown man. Like, put on your big boy to lean in and listen today, because I need you to let your parents off the hook a little bit. It's hard. And I think as we kind of lean into that, I think this is for everybody. But guys, I want to talk to you today because I think church has gotten a little sissy. Like, it's a little sissy. You can't say anything, and everybody's just, and we know just enough like Christian ease to like get out of stuff. And guys, it's like, man, it just really hurt my heart, Pastor, when you said that. I'm like, be a grown man. Like, put on your big boy pants. Like, let's be a man. And then all the songs we sing, it's always like, you ever heard that song about the sloppy wet kiss and stuff? Like, I ain't got no time for the sloppy wet kiss. Like that.
So in reference to the information that I'll give here here in a few, statements like this, just keep this in mind. Just keep these statements in mind, because it goes from bad to worse to disgusting pretty goddamn quick.
That's horrible. And then, we've made it all kind of girly. And see, back in the day, back before it was LED lights, it was ferns and flowers everywhere. Hey, you know how many nurseries went out of business when LED lights got invented? Just shut them down. Churches were like, we can't buy you ferns anymore. We're done. It's LED lights now. Smoke. But it's so like, it's kind of girly. And I need you to know, men, it is actually okay to be a man and follow Jesus. You know, here's the problem. We paint this picture in our minds of this like fictional blonde-haired, blue-eyed British Jesus that every time he speaks in front of a crowd, he's like, oh, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That's not how he did it. He's like, ow! Ow! Man, this hurts! Ow! But he was such a man. Go back and read your Bible. That this guy that apparently always walked slowly through crowds, and his robes were always super clean. That this same guy, when a crowd of people was coming to stone him to death, they were going to hit him in the body with rocks until he died. You know what the Bible says? This whole crowd of people, group of people like y'all coming at me, and like this is what the Bible says happened. He's walking towards this cliff. He realized, oh, that's a cliff, and I ain't having any of this situation. The Bible said he just turned around. And the Bible didn't say this, but he probably kind of say something. Say it. Hit.
In Matthew 6, verse 14, Jesus does say it with your chest. Does say the Lord. Why are we making up shit now?
Yeah, it's. Do you notice his stutter and his pause?
Mm-hmm.
And then he still went through with it. He stuttered and he paused. I know the Bible didn't say this, but he probably turned around like, say something.
He literally said that shit in the same sentence too. He said one thing that the Bible did say, and then he's like, well, I know the Bible didn't say this. I'm like, well, I just don't fucking believe you at this point. Thank you, Shane.
Matthew 16:22 says, I ain't fronting. Get at me, bro. It's well, let's let it go because it's I think we're getting close to the part that I want to lead up to.
Oh boy.
Me with a pebble. Just one pebble. Let a pebble hit my leg. Let a pebble hit my leg. And so then the Bible says they had rocks in their hands. They were going to stone him to death, and they just got out of his way. That's a man's man, y'all. He took a beating that would have killed you and me in the beating, and then still.
I'm sorry, just really quick. I don't. First of all, I don't know what his definition of man's man is, or when he says man's man, what he imagines. But I've never spent a day of my life wanting to be, trying to be, or desiring to be a man's man.
Luke chapter 22, verse 7. I wish a motherfucker would.
No. You got the wrong reference, Shane. That's Austin 3:16.
God damn it, Shane. God damn it.
I
Wrong
wish
Bible.
A motherfucker would.
Wrong Bible.
That's in that's in the Quran, not.
That's funny. I never understood that phrase, be a man's man. I mean, if you think about it, it sounds almost like a homosexual reference. I mean, not shaming anything. But I'm just saying, if they're about being all, manly and straight, being a man's man doesn't sound like that. Just saying.
Well, and that's, yeah, that's I agree with you 100%, and that's why I was saying that, like, as someone that loves and has many friends in the homosexual community, that I do you and literally and figuratively, like do whatever you want to do. But I find it ironic because these motherfuckers don't have, as a man, they don't share my outlook. They believe that if you're a homosexual, you will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I agree with Eddie. Being a woman's man sounds more exciting. For me, being a straight 40-year-old man, that's me. That's so when I hear a guy that I already know is homophobic, transphobic, like all of those things, for him to get on stage and have a microphone and say, I just want to be a man's man. It to me, is that not an oxymoron?
It is.
Or is he just a moron?
It's both. And yes, Mr. Christian, I mean, no, he's not trying. He genuinely thinks he is. Apparently.
Well, we'll tell you what he really is here in a few.
So, question. So he's a pastor. I'm not Hall.
He's no longer a pastor. He was when this happened. When he was speaking here, he was, yes. Got it.
I never liked this whole style. I've been to, just a small tidbit, we'll get back. I've been to like these like new modern, sermons or whatever, where it's like no general pulpit or guy doesn't come out with his Bible, but he's like working the stage like a comedian. And I'm like, this feels weird. Because I feel like they try too fucking hard to just also be funny because they're trying to get your interest because the shit's bad and boring anyway. And it's just like, it's too much. Let's go back to the old shit.
Yeah, well, and I think that's probably because I would say the opposite, because you've been indoctrinated in the Baptist,
so me too. Yep.
Very, very, traditional, and it's cookie cutter, you're going to get what you get the next day, where that drove me nuts when I was a Christian. I'm like, no, I need some change up. I need some change up.
I mean, granted, it still drives me nuts, but I mean, at least, I don't know. This is just weird. It's weird. It's weird to me.
Oh, it is very much entertainment driven. Don't get it twisted. I'm not necessarily like saying, I'm not at all saying you're wrong. It is entertainment. It is, if we were to watch the full 37 minutes, which we're not, you can, and that's why I sat and watched the entire thing, because I was watching and listening to certain things. But the biggest thing I was watching, which is very prevalent in all of the ARC churches that, I was involved with one for 9 years or whatever, but all the other ones that were associated, is there's the pendulum swing, where it starts off, big, loud, exciting music, and then more, minor chord driven music, gets you in your feels. Pastor comes up, lightens the mood a little bit, gets into some funnies, does maybe some little more in your face shit, a little more pointed shit, then lightens it up a little bit, but then comes in for the home run, where it's time to save your soul.
Oh, praise God.
Right. And it's a formula. They've worked out this formula, and for them, it fucking works. Like ARC Church, I'm gonna try to pull up some of the statistics. If you understood how many churches and how many people are involved in this organization, and we all know when you start hearing the word organization in reference to religion, we know where we're headed, right?
It's always good.
It's always good, like cult, good.
Yeah.
All right, here we
go. Had to carry the top beam of that cross all the way to the place where he would be murdered. And he's like, warrior. But I didn't find anybody. And then the Bible says she turned to Adam. He was standing there the whole that would be pursuing God with everything that he has. So, know this though. A man without a cause to fight for will find that the man who is starved for his, I was angry. So for the sons and maybe daughters in the room today, let me give you a couple of thoughts. Number one, you are beautiful and you are worthy of pursuit in your cause as a young warrior is like, see how many women you can conquer. You'll think that as a warrior, like it's like how many football games you can win. Look at this verse in Acts chapter 8. It says, but Saul began to destroy the church. Saul would become Paul. He was going from house to house. He dragged off men and women and he put them in prison. He didn't have somebody to set him on his path. And a warrior without a cause to fight for is going to find the wrong things to fight against. And you're going to spend your entire life thinking that your cause is like maybe how much money and stuff you can get. You'll think that guys, young men, you'll think that your cause as a young warrior is like, see how many women you can conquer. You'll think that as a warrior, like it's like how many football games you can win, how many touchdowns you can score. Guys, when we get out into the corporate world, it's how many promotions can we get. It's how many people recognize how awesome we are. And we'll stay in this place of performance. And I think because only the Father can set the Son on his cause, that the man who is starved for his Father's approval is sentenced to a prison of performance. Like your whole life, you're going to have to perform because nobody set you on the cause that you were actually created for. Now, some of you didn't grow up in a home where your daddy really kind of put hands on you and told you, ladies, listen, like you should have heard, like you are beautiful and you are worthy of pursuit in a godly way. Men, you should have heard like, hey, you're loved and your performance is not what makes me love you, and I love you anyway. And you should have heard those things, and you should have had somebody that you were looking at that made Jesus his pursuit and priority. His wife was the wife of his youth, and he pursued her and her only. And then you guys were able to follow in that example. That's the model of marriage and family that you were supposed to see, but maybe you didn't see it. I know I didn't. And then you get out into the world, and quite honestly, what I realized was I was spending my entire life hoping somebody would recognize that I was actually worth believing in. And I was angry. So for the sons and maybe daughters in the room today, let me give you a couple of thoughts. Number one, you must forgive your father through Christ. Listen, it's hard, guys. I'm raising kids. There was one day, I don't know where you are on spanking, like spanking kids or what. I'm pro spanking, okay? I'm going to go.
All right, if there's a trigger, I know that this was a trigger for me when I watched it, and I actually had to step out and smoke a cigarette, and then I came back because one of the examples that he gives is exactly what happened to me as a kid. And here he condones it. And not only does he condone it, or even endorse it, obviously, the men's group, the small group that was being hosted here at my stepdad's house, they're all sitting there like giggling and shaking their head, and I'm like, are you guys fucking serious right now? Like, I almost felt like you guys remember, like, I'm sitting right here, right? Because they all know me. You remember I'm sitting right here, right? You remember my story? You remember what this shit did to me? But it's just how intoxicated by this shit people can get. So if you've ever been abused by parents or any authority figures with objects, foreign objects, whatever, this part may trigger you. Maybe it doesn't. I just want to make sure I say that because it did cause me to step out and take a break and smoke a cigarette.
I'm going to let you know, when you got 0 kids or 1 kid, you're like, I just don't believe that spanking's right. You get 4 kids, you'll beat everything. I
have 4 kids. Josh, I don't beat any of them. And the only reason I say that is because everybody's laughing, again, just like the small group was, but there's a lot of truth said in jest, Josh. There's a lot of truth said in jest.
I'll wake them up with a spanking now. That's for the stuff you're going to do. Just happen to have my belt with me. But I remember one time I had overcorrected. I'd overcorrected.
All right, we'll stop there. So I wake you up with a beating for the shit you're gonna do. So that sounds like you're God. So now I truly know you're a Christian. Because I already know the evils you're gonna do. So I've already lined up the punishment. And it just so happens when I come in there, I already have the belt in my hand. Boy, that sounds familiar. So Josh, thank you for well, first of all, thank you for being a dick, being an asshole, and being inconsiderate to those that have actually been abused in that manner, and with that exact foreign object many times. And you make light of it, and you have your congregation laughing about beating children with a belt. So then my follow-up to that, based on all the other toxic fucking bullshit you've said so far, is that a man's man, Josh? Is that a man's man? A man that will take a foreign object and beat a child? And then you have the audacity. You have the audacity to then follow it up with, there was a time that I overcorrected. What the fuck does that mean, Josh? What do you mean you overcorrected? Does that mean you left marks? You caused bruises? Did you draw blood, Josh? What the fuck does that even mean? I overcorrected. I mean, you're already overcorrecting. You're using foreign objects. You're already overcorrecting. So if your idea of correction is a foreign object, a belt or whatever, what the fuck does overcorrection look like? And I actually don't even want to know the actual answer to that. But if that is how you're treating your kids, it's really not what we're getting ready to dive into. Really isn't a big surprise. I think many probably that knew you intimately probably saw it coming. Because if you'll abuse a child, that is absolutely 100% helpless. We know you're capable of much more. So I'll leave that. And if you guys want to watch, I don't assume you do, but maybe you do for, to use, maybe you want to use it or you want to take clips and discuss it. It's, I keep forgetting. It must be God. He works in mysterious ways. Josh or Joshua Mauney, Mauney is his name. And the name of this video is Fight Like a Man. But yeah, before I kind of go to where everything unfolded and fell apart tonight, and how we got here in a short few hours, Jenny, any thoughts on that bullshit? Okay, fair enough, and I understand and I respect it. Let me pull up this article here. Okay. Well, yep, Shane, we're abuse. Yes, and it's and I hate to trivialize or minimize the word abuse, but it went way off the rails. Let's say that he went way off the rails. But let's do this before we get into this, because I feel like if I don't have a break right here, it'll get really, it's going to be intense anyway. So it'll get overly intense because I didn't break it up. So I need to do a good job as a host and break it up for a minute. And first of all, everybody in the chat, thanks for coming and hanging out. I know these are the intense, more difficult things to talk about, but we do have to talk about these things. And even the atheist your way, I said it, even that stream, we're still going to call it this bullshit. Like that doesn't go away. That's what we do. That's what I do. That's what we all should be doing when we see this shit. And especially, like this hits home. Like I know these people. my brother does life, does ministry with these people, so we have to do that. But I just want to hit a quick break here, and a strategic pause, as Timothy Kite would say, and give us a second to get our breath, and for me, even just to get over the belt thing, because that shit's fucked up. So, let me I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna refill my drink, and then I'll hit the drink music. We'll have a drink, and I will read the articles. Well, mainly one article, and I think the legal documentation will be right there. So, but in the meantime, to change it up, Jena, when is part 2 of yours and Scott's episode?
Well, if anyone missed it, part 1 of me premiering my new solo pre-recorded show, A Black Diaspora, aired earlier today, so catch that. Part 2 is going to premiere Wednesday at around the same time, maybe 10:15ish. I get off work late, so I want to kind of catch it too. But part 2 is going to be a bit more intense than part 1. It kind of dives into things Scott had experienced as a JW, involving elders, which, the little ending kind of was dramatic and, precluded to what's to expect. So once I upload it later tonight, you'll see the time and when it'll premiere. So it'll be this Wednesday at around 10ish Eastern time.
Oh man, sorry, that didn't stir as well as I thought it did. Oh man,
a little too strong for the Aussie.
No, it's just all the alcohol was at the top. It didn't mix. So if you didn't check out part 1 of Jen and Scott's conversation / interview, you better go do it. And again, congratulations to Jenna, first and foremost. It was her first solo operation. Solo, you couldn't hear us. I'm kidding. That was a dumbass joke. Her solo operation here on the Atheist Network Group. So very, very excited and very, very proud of you. You did amazing.
Thank you.
And this girl ain't no joke. This girl ain't no joke on that Eddie game. Y'all don't be sleeping. Oh, I thought you were saying you want to say something.
I am. That's why I raised my hand.
That's why I paused.
Sorry. Well, I mean, the pot. Never mind. If I may. With the show, yes, I'm for a minute I'm going to be highlighting, typical people that we know. I'm reaching out, or I'm beginning to reach out those that we're familiar with, mutual friends are that are Black and or mixed race. So that's the focus of the show. I'm doing one-on-one conversations with individuals that are atheists and unbelievers that are Black and or mixed race. But for those that are viewing, and you, of course, identify as atheist, or if you're still, borderline believer, even that. But of course, if you're a Black or mixed race, I want to talk to you. This is not just exclusively for content creators that I'm trying to have conversations with, because, they've told their stories many times over before on various different shows. The whole point is that I'm just opening and constructing this now, so it's fresh, so that people get an idea and the concept of what it is. But mainly, I really want to reach those that don't really have a voice, that don't have a platform, that don't do anything. You don't have to be any type of person. I just want to talk to you if you're Black or mixed race, and where you are as far as in your faith, not out of your faith. Like, it's important to understand and know those stories And that's my journey, and that's my goal. And yeah, reach out to me. That's it.
Yeah, hit her up. Yeah, so before we hit the drink music and get to it, Soren, this channel is utterly fantastic. This is gonna explode, children. Children.
I read that as a full sentence. I'm so I failed to yeah. This is gonna explode children. Wait, no, that doesn't sound right.
In reference to what we just watched.
Drink music, please.
And you know what? Let's do this is the longer version, but I think this episode deserves it. I have no idea what just happened to this show. No, we needed that. We needed that. It was getting hated. It was getting hated. Well, for me anyway. I don't know about y'all. That shit pisses me the fuck off. Yeah, introduce me to a man and give me evidence that he harms children. I will fuck him up, and yes, I'll go to jail for it. You heard it live.
Please don't put my man in jail. It's not right.
If they fucking with the chitlins.
Ew.
What the fuck, StreamYard? Just play along. There you go. All right, guys. So before I put this up on screen, so Dr. Joshua Mani, I can never remember how to say his last name, but obviously you just heard from him. So to again remind you of background, if you just I saw some names just pop in. This pastor was now after you read this article, you'll know exactly what happened, and it's even disgusting on how he became no longer involved in the organization. But not only was he part of the same network of churches, which is Association of Related Churches, ARC, which is what my brother is a part of. Not only was he a pastor of a church down in Florida, but my stepdad played drums for this man. We know these motherfuckers. We's bees knowins these motherfuckers. And then you're gonna hear names, and they're the ones that are on the thumbnail. So you're gonna hear names. Josh's. You're gonna hear Dino Rizzo, which is a very close friend of my brother's. You're going to hear what's his name? Oh, let me pull this up. You guys know my memory. I see all their faces, and I'm terrible with names. Uno momento. That way, as we're going through this, you understand the connection. All right, so if I'm looking at the thumbnail, let's just go left to right. Let's play easiest. So Greg Surratt, he's like the vice president of ARC, Association of Related Churches. So he kind of number at least last time I looked and what I could find tonight, essentially number 2 in command. Dina Rizzo, which was, as I just said a minute ago, very, very close with my brother. I guess you would call, if Pasta Mike was still here, he would love it. One of my brother's mentors. And then Chris Hodges. And I love that I found this picture of him where he's pointing at himself like, me? Me? He's the man. In business talk, he's the goddamn CEO of this shit. And I'll get to him before we end too. It's not on the same shit that Josh is involved in. But for those in the Black Atheist community, you'll be very interested to learn more about Chris Hodges. And then Josh Moni, whatever, that we're talking about tonight, obviously. And then furthest to the right, Dave Summerall. Dave Summerall is one of my brother's best friends. And actually got my brother connected with ARC. And for those that have been involved in the evangelical charismatic movement here in the United States, you know that Dave Summerall's grandpa was Lester Summerall, which was a Christian powerhouse back in like the 70s, 80s, early 90s. And he, way before these other motherfuckers were doing it, he was flying planes and going to other countries and supposedly helping people and, you know, and doing all that. And I don't have evidence one way or another whether he did or didn't fly over there and help people. I don't know. I'm just telling you, he was like one of the he's the grassroots, you know, when it came to that shit. That way, as we go through this, you have some background, and you know what's going on, and you understand that I'm not calling this shit out simply because it's bullshit, because it is still bullshit. It needs to be called out. But I'm also calling it out because this shit hits way too close to home for me to ignore it and to act like I don't see this and I don't read this and I don't hear this. And I hate the word shame on me, but I would definitely say, uh-oh, Jena's lights went out. You okay?
Yeah.
So now you're just gonna leave me on screen.
You know? Hold on.
Oh, you're good. You're good. But I would say, oh, poof. Oh, I know what it is. Jena got that clap on. Clap on. Clap on. It's what was I saying? Yeah, I feel like as much as I hate the phrase or the term shame on me or shame on you, I would say had everything that happened tonight happened and I found these things out and I didn't talk about it, especially as much of a direct connection I have to this, I would have expected someone to say, shame on you, Oz. Shame on you for knowing this and knowing even the inner workings, you know, not to its totality, but having a good understanding of the inner workings and you not exposing it, because you know this, but you talk about all these other people and all these other things that don't hit close to home, but then you don't touch this, you know. So I feel like it's necessary because I do know most of these people and I have known these people. So I will now stop rambling and let's do the short one more time. If I can get to it. All right. And I will say it again. All the trigger warnings. This is where we go from pastor trying to be comedian and make light of child abuse to the actual real life shit that he did and is still currently being prosecuted on. And then further, once we get through that, what this bullshit organization, ARC, Association of Related Churches, has done to cover up and hide and try to distract people from the bullshit that's happened. And this is when you know you're in a cult. All right. So remember, trigger warning. I can't say it enough. I always want to be respectful. So we'll start at the top. Lawsuit accuses church planting group of allowing Florida pastor to sexually prey on employee. And it's not, this is long. It's not super long, but I want to do due diligence and go through the whole thing because I also searched YouTube and nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about ARC. And I think it's because people don't realize how big, how large ARC is. So I want to go through this and do due diligence because this video may get picked up, may be seen as like a holy shit. I didn't know. So I want to be careful on this part and make sure we spell out everything, everything that's here. So a Florida lawsuit accuses the Association of Related Churches, ARC, one of America's largest church planting organizations, of negligence and cover-up concerning a pastor who allegedly raped a female staff member. The lawsuit is being brought by a woman identified as Jane Doe and alleges that ARC knew that Josh Money, ARC's former national director of church planning, had a history of sexual misconduct. Yet ARC allowed Money to plant and lead New Sound Church, now Sound Church, a former ARC member church in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. And during his time there, the suit alleges Money raped and sexually assaulted Doe, his female assistant, on numerous occasions. This suit is the second lawsuit naming either ARC or its executives to recently come to light. Just last week, media reported that a lawsuit filed in Mississippi named ARC executive director and Church of the Highlands pastor Dino Rizzo as a defendant. The suit claimed Rizzo failed to protect an intern after learning she was sexually harassed by a pastor at Vibrant Church, an ARC member church in Columbus, Mississippi. While speaking with Corky Smith, the lawyer representing the plaintiff in the Vibrant Church case, the Roy's Report learned of the Florida lawsuit, which was filed last March. The Florida suit names both ARC and New Sound Church as defendants. It accuses two members of ARC's lead team of being responsible for allowing Money's abuse, Rizzo and ARC's president, Greg Surratt, who's also founding pastor at Seacoast Church, an ARC member megachurch in North and South Carolina. Pause. I know. I already know that those that subscribe and follow and listen and are in the side chat and watch, you guys are way smarter than I am, way more intelligent than I am. So I know you're following, and I know you see the pattern and the web that's being weaved. It's already been weaved, but you're watching it be you're watching it be woven. But just pay close attention. It gets more tricky, and this is why we have to talk about this shit and expose this shit. Also accused are 3 other pastors of ARC member. What's that word? Mega churches. Justin Daly, remember that name. Pastor of Action Church in Orlando, Florida. Dave Summerall, pastor of I-Town Church in Fishers, Indiana, my brother's best friend. And Sean Nepstead, I don't know him, pastor of Fellowship Church in Antioch, California.
I know what that church is.
Yeah. Oh, they're everywhere. They're fucking everywhere. All 5 men served as quote unquote overseers of New Sound Church and were appointed. Remember this. Were appointed by ARC, the suit says. The Roy's report reached out to all 5 men for comment, but only Surratt responded. Surratt denied any wrongdoing by ARC with either New Sound or Vibrant Church, of course, claiming ARC has no. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that right now.
I can barely read it, so I can't even tell. Let me see.
Ecclesiastical.
Oh, ecclesiastical.
There you go. Yeah, I know the root word of that, but I'm not trying to pronounce it. Or legal authority over member churches. Oh, this is when the shit comes out, Josh. This is when the shit starts to hit the fan, Josh. And I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit, dude.
Mm.
The lawsuit against ARC and New Sound was filed March 17th, 2021 in Florida's 15th Judicial Court. According to the suit, Monty hired Doe as his assistant at New Sound in 2019 and then groomed and exploited her to have sexual relations with him. This allegedly included placing Doe's desk in his office and exchanging emails, text messages, and phone calls with Doe during all hours of the day and night. Between December 2019 and March 7th of 2020, Monty raped and sexually assaulted Doe on 12 separate occasions at various locations, including Monty's office at New Sound, according to the suit. During this time, Monty's employment and retention as senior pastor of New Sound Church was approved and authorized by ARC, the suit claims. Additionally, the lawsuit alleges that ARC had knowledge of other instances where Monty had engaged in inappropriate sexual conduct and or attempted to do so. It adds ARC failed to report this information to the church community or to the proper authorities. ARC continued to allow Monty to be in a position where he could sexually prey on female parishioners and employees of New Sound Church, including Doe. When Doe reported that Monty had been inappropriate with her, the church told Doe to contact Rizzo, the suit alleges. Pause. Because this next part, because I actually like Rizzo, like my brother and Rizzo, like are homeboys, and I know Rizzo not as well as my brother does, but I know Rizzo, and I'm gonna pause. We're gonna have a drink before I dig into this shit because it literally makes me want to go and like beat his face in. When Doe reported that Monty had been inappropriate with her, the church told Doe to contact Rizzo, the suit alleges. Here's the problem. Rizzo has a history of sexual misconduct himself. Are we shocked? In 2012, while pastoring the Healing Place, the fuck out of here, an ARC member church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Rizzo admitted an inappropriate affair and stepped down. He was restored to ministry at Church of the Highlands, an ARC member church, about a year later. Of course he was. The lawsuit claims that Rizzo interrogated Doe and asked her, and I quote, if she wanted to be devious and make the church close down. Pause. So Dino, that's what you do now? You have a woman in your organization, in your church ministry, that has been raped, abused, taken advantage of, any and all those things that I can't even think to name right now. And you're the first question you have for, does she want to be devious and make the church close down? Why don't you talk to Josh? Why don't you fucking talk to Josh about making the church close down? About 4 days later, I'm sorry. Let me go back. The lawsuit claims that Rizzo interrogated Doe and asked her if she wanted to be devious and make the church close down. The suit says Rizzo also connected Doe with Justin Daly of Action Church, to whom she divulged the whole story. About 4 days later, Daly sent a letter to New Sound's congregation telling them Monty had resigned, but not mentioning why. Jena, why on earth? Why on earth would someone resign from a position that they make tons of money and they have tons of security in that position? Why would they just resign with no explanation and no details, no thank yous, no love you guys? No, why would that ever happen?
Sounds suspicious, but maybe, fire's really starting to hit him.
Yeah, I think whoever's in charge of ARC nowadays, y'all need to go check that little TikTok video. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't, because you're suspicious as fuck. You're sus as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
About 4 days later, Daly sent a letter to New Sound's congregation telling them Molly had resigned, but not mentioning why. This is where I get livid. And this is where, and I'll say it right now. Kyle, my little brother, Kyle, if you, because I'm sure you're going to see the thumbnails and all that, and you'll probably watch this. And I'm just going to put it all the way out there, and I'm going to be as plain and as upfront and straight to the point as I can be. This is the shit that throws me over the top. And after I read this, then I'll say why and give my opinion or my position on it. It adds that Daly then sent Doe, the victim, a form to sign. And I'm gonna go through this slowly because this is fucking crazy. This is fucking bullshit. It adds that Daly then sent Doe, the victim, a form to sign, stating that she would not sue New Sound, the church, nor speak to anyone about her abuse, and offering her $21,000 in severance. Pause. Fuck you. Fuck you. But then let's turn it up. Let's turn up the heat a little bit, and let's get an even more clear, vivid, like HD quality picture of who these motherfuckers are and how they operate. So a $21,000 severance for a woman that's been raped and abused and taken advantage of. $21,000 to shut the fuck up. That's what they've said. Then the suit claims New Sound and ARC also, quote unquote, gifted or paid Josh, the rapist, paid Josh $70,000 after he resigned. What? 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 Like I don't fucking get it. I don't fucking hold on. So we get in the chat for a minute. Just take a quick break. ARC is not a denomination. It's just a cultish oversight of the liberal, progressive / evangelical part of that movement. If that makes any fucking sense, because none of it makes any fucking sense. Andrew, what publication is this article in? If you search Josh Mani, however you spell his name, it's on the thumbnail, and I did that on purpose so people can go and search these names. You can find all this shit. There's several publications. These guys are fucking pieces of shit. Yeah, Andrew. Essentially, congratulations. Good job on that woman. Here's your performance bonus. You got $50,000 more than she did. Great job, asshole. It's and this is where the what we know where is he went from dust to dust. He went from dust to dust. But this is what I need. This is what I need. This is what I need. The boss. I need Christopher Hitchens. I need the goddamn boss. Religion fucking poisons everything. It poisons everything. It fucks everything up. Because even those that portray themselves to be the most progressive and the most liberal and the most loving and the most endearing and the most inclusive still use this shit to use and abuse and take advantage of and fuck people's lives up. And then after they fuck it up, because nowadays the money making scheme is even bigger than ever, they get paid to fucking do it. They get a payday. They get a fucking goddamn payday to do it. All right, so this part, of course, ARC denies culpability. They, we don't have any authority over, the separate churches yet. They're the ones that appoint the board of the directors, or whatever the fuck it's called. So then a little more on ARC. Another lawsuit against Vibrant and Rizzo. Oh man, Dino, you're supposed to be the motherfucking man. You're supposed to be the motherfucking man. Oh, that's right. You have a history in this shit. My bad. And I'll go through these a little more quickly because now we're outside of the direct impact of my family, but this shit still needs to be highlighted. We'll go through it, and if anybody has any questions or whatever before we go, I'll answer them because this shit needs to be talked about. The other lawsuit involving ARC claims that a former intern, Vibrant Church, Laura Ashley Egan, was sexually harassed by a Vibrant Church pastor, Jason Delgado. I actually remember that name. I don't remember him, but I remember the name. The suit claims that both Vibrant and Rizzo knew or reasonably should have known of Jason Delgado's conduct and failed to take appropriate action. Oh, and I will also say this about Josh. He had already had accusations made made or taken about trying to force himself on women before ARC sent him to launch the church in Florida. So that this wasn't like new behavior by Josh. Like they already knew what the deal was. So in this one, according to the suit, easily began interning at Vibrant in the fall of 2020 when Delgado was serving as Vibrant's senior pastor. During this internship, Delgado sent easily disgusting, graphic communications of a sexual nature, the suit says. According to Egan's lawyer, Corky Smith, Delgado's sexually inappropriate communications were given to various Vibrant employees and Rizzo. Man, Dino, your name just keeps popping up, dog. Who served as an overseer for Vibrant. Oh, Okay, it's making more sense. This led to an internal investigation, which concluded by February 2021, Smith said. Smith added that he's also spoken to 2 other victims of Delgado's who say they reported Delgado's sexual harassment towards them. Jesus fucking Christ. You guys are fucking assholes. Towards them 2016 and in 2018 and 19. We're talking about years, fuckers. We're talking about years. And y'all just keep doing the bro thing. Y'all keep doing the bro thing, protecting each other. Yeah, Delgado didn't resign from Vibrant until mid-April. Shortly after allegations of Delgado's misconduct involving Beasley and others were published in a local newspaper. It's really sad because everything that is in this lawsuit was 100% preventable if someone would have done something or anything, Smith said. But nobody did. And the reason I say it in that tone, I'm not mocking Smith. I'm trying to play along with the bullshit narrative that we pretend that they're going to do something. We it's like, oh, if I do this, they may say something, but we know they're not going to. Sorry, my internet went out. We know they're not going to do nothing. It's the bro code, bro. It's the bro code. And yes, there is a pattern of covering up abusive pastors, especially in ARC right now, it seems to be. So I won't go through all this, but there's, again, just Rizzo's name just keeps popping up everywhere. Rizzo, look, Rizzo. And he's like 3rd on the command chain, if I remember right. Oh man, I missed that part earlier. Who was Smith? According to Smith, the recent lawsuits and other instances are church reveal a pattern of covering up pastors guilty of sexual abuse. Additional what happened and has also been embroiled in scandal involving. Oh man, holy shit! I missed this part. Oh man, he was another one that was up and comer. Like his church was fucking exploding. This pastor's lie when allegations that Carter had sexually assaulted a woman at Together Church became public. The church cut ties with him, reflecting on how ARC has allegedly protected, in some cases, redeployed abusive pastors. Smith said, "It looks like this pattern and practice that ARC and Rizzo are engaged in. It's almost like this is a script on how they operate." Whoever wrote this fucking article, thank you. You're a fucking badass.
Seriously. Wow.
Smith said his firm is investigating ARC's relationship with Vibrant Church and may add more organizations to its suit. Smith, who's a Southern Baptist, said he expects more victims of Delgado's to come forward and said he's passionate about arguing the victim's case in court. I don't. Yes, in when our ARC Association of Related Churches and those involved, include Kyle, including you, little brother, including you, This is what you want to be connected to. This is what you want to be associated with. These guys, bro, you're fucking with predators. Kyle, we haven't spoken. It's almost it's closing on a goddamn year since you and I have spoke. And if you hear this and you see this, this is first of all, this is one of the reasons I don't fuck with church anymore. Not the reason, but one of the reasons. But bro, you're fucking with predators. These guys are predators. And if you're the same Kyle that I've known my entire life, except for like the last year, that's not you, bro. Like, you can have your God belief, but this shit right here, what these dudes are doing, this ain't you, bro. And I still, as your big brother, love you enough and have enough love to say, fucking run. You can keep your God belief. You can have it. But this shit, bro, fucking run. These guys are predators. They're manipulators. They're opportunists. And I left the court document up there for a minute so people can see it. If they want to go search it on their own and look up more info on their own, they can. Yeah, I what you got to say? What you got to say, babe?
Honestly, what can't be said? It's plain and simple and obvious. It's disgusting behavior that we see time and time again, and shit just gets covered up or not said, or people are paid off. $21,000. That's some bullshit. Anyway, I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. And it's even more of my drive to be like, why the fuck are women believers in the first place? Anyone, just women in general. Because this shit is just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. And then you cover it and make it seem like they're the problem and they're the reasons. And we need to keep our mouth shut because, we need the church. The church ain't doing shit for you.
Nope.
It's disgusting. I'm disgusted.
And I when you and I have talked about this, and I know we share the same outlook on this. Whether if there's two people groups or communities that blow my mind, like now having the understanding and the knowledge and the perspective that I have or we have now, there's two groups of people that it blows my mind that they would actually believe in this book or this religion, and that is like hands down women, because the Bible's like just shits all over women constantly, right? But women in any people of color, Like you don't you don't you don't get to read that book and just dismiss it. Like it says what it says, and that book doesn't like you. The book doesn't like you. And if the book doesn't like you, guess what that book is? That book is the God inspired.
God breathed. Yeah.
This is a good question. Thank you, Andrew. Oz, during your time in the corporate world, have you ever had to deal with a situation like this? If so, was the solution to pay the perpetrators a bonus? I can answer that. I only had, and it was nothing nearly as disgusting or as atrocious as what we just read. But I had one situation that was brought to my attention, and what some people forget is there are always cameras on when you're in retail. There's always cameras on. Doesn't mean we're always watching, but the cameras are always recording, right? And there was a young lady that was working for me that did come to me and as the director, and then the manager of that store. She was awesome. She was phenomenal what she did, and her team trusted her. And she went to her first, and then they came to me. It's like, there's something we need to talk about. And we went into my office, and they said, okay, this is what happened. This is what day it happened. I can't remember exactly what time it was. And I was like, well, okay, you don't need to remember what time it was. If these things are true, I'm going to investigate until I find whether they are true or not. So if you give me the day, I will spend the time behind, the going through the recorded footage to make sure that these things happen. That way, legally, I have all the quote unquote, proof and documentation that I need. And they gave me the day, the scenario, what happened, what didn't happen. and I probably spent excuse me, if I remember, like 5 or 6 hours like going through footage and searching. And sorry. And then based on what that employee had described, and the what was going on, who was around and who wasn't around, and then where it went from there, I was like, I finally found, I was like, oh, this may be it. 'Cause I feel like this is what she was describing, and exactly what she described happened, like to a T. And when I found it, it was after hours. Like I stayed in the store after hours, like in investigating, because I was like, no, that's bullshit. I want to know. I'm not going to be able to sleep until I figure out what the fuck happened, and as soon as I found it, that dude the next day, and like we actually had to end up calling the cops, because he was trying to so violently oppose the accusations. Like, no, fuck that didn't happen. And I was like, dude, like, you need to calm down. Like, I have video evidence. I have written witness statements. Like, I have everything. Like, this is not a battle that's worth you trying to fight right now, because you're already fucked. And the more you try to fight it, it's only going to get worse. So long story short, I came down like a hammer, and he lost his job the next day. And I believe, I believe she prosecuted and they settled, if I remember right. Because I know I never had to get involved in the judicial, part of it. And the fact that I didn't have to get involved means they probably settled, or else I would have had to have been, involved in that. But to answer your question, yes, it did happen. I have had that. And was my solution to pay anybody else? Was the perpetrator not? Was my solution to ever pay anybody? No, it is. Let's deal with it and then go from there. But I'm not paying people to shut the fuck up. Which is what Dino was trying to do. I'll give you $21K, but the rapist, I'm giving him 70. Dino, if I see you on the streets, we got problems, bro. We got problems. And I'm not even fucking around. We got problems. Like that's the kind of piece of shit you are. We got problems, bro. That's bullshit. Yes, which is that's what happened. But I had to find the evidence first. Yeah, yes, I should have. Yes, I should have said that, Andrew. Yes, the next day I got reported to the authorities, and that's why he was up in arms, is because we called the cops, and he lost his job, rightfully so. All right, well, yeah, before we wrap up, one last time, Jena, congratulations. We'll switch gears, lighten it up a little bit before we go. Again, Jena, congratulations on your solo debut.
Thank you.
And you killed it. Not that any of us are surprised, but
Thank you. It's appreciated. And I want to stay encouraged and continue to build and work on it. And like I said, if you are a Black or mixed race individual, whether you are a believer or atheist, reach out to me. Pretty much leave a comment on this video or anywhere, really. Just reach out.
Hell yeah. And how can they, if they want to be interviewed by the amazing Jena, how can they get a hold of you?
By all means, the easiest is probably through Twitter. So if you want to tweet me at Jena_BFA, like you can send me a direct message, and we'll chop it up and see what we can do. And by all means, I am perfectly fine with keeping with a person's keeping their identity secret. I know all about that, and trust me, I understand. So you don't even have to have a camera. Like, as long as I can hear your voice and we can talk, no camera. As far as it being a pre-recorded show, it's not a requirement. So you can keep that safety. If you think that you want at least your story to be heard and have that be reached, like, that's important for anyone, especially me. So
Hell yeah. Well, some may say that I'm biased, but the whole episode was badass, and the cliffhanger at the end, being a great producer, you understand how to leave people with a great cliffhanger, and you did that. Even people in the chat were like, "Oh, you ended it so
dramatically.
You ended it so." But no, it was great, and I love Scott. Scott's awesome. He's my dude. But no, I will. I'll say. No, I'm not gonna say anything else. No, we're good. So, anything else that you would like to say about tonight's stream before we pop off?
I mean, it's just more reasons why I'm no longer a believer. I've never been a victim of that level of sexual abuse, though I have been sexually harassed and, well, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But it's just so fucking disgusting. And even the earlier video about, beating your children, so fucking disgusting. And I'm just, it's no question, among other fucking reasons, why I'm not a believer anymore. Yeah, that's it.
Fuck yeah. Fuck all that bullshit. But real quick, before we sign off, Pastor Mike wanted me to run an ad real quick.
Oh, that's for the real apples. Yeah, man. You looking like the devil who created you.
You looking like the devil who created you.
You don't know me. You don't know me, homie.
Gotta love that intermission.
But everybody's been in the chat tonight. Thank you. And like I said, I know this shit's fucking heavy, but it's necessary.
It is.
And it's necessary whether it hits close to home or not. But the fact that I know all but maybe 2 or 3 people that we talked about tonight, I know these motherfuckers. And that shit, that's fucked up. That's crazy to me. Because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, not the people I know, not my friends, not my people, not my, like you think, not that could never, no, it's all of them. It's all these motherfuckers. I was like, no, I can't not talk about it. And that's just who I literally would not have slept tonight if I didn't talk about it. It would have fucked with my head all night. Because that's some egregious, disgusting fucking shit that nobody, like, I went through YouTube, I went through all that, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's highlighting this. It needs to be talked about because this is a huge organization. They make millions and millions and millions of dollars, and nobody's talking about this shit. So anyway, before we go, Jena, when is number 2?
Yes, part 2 of my conversation with Scott Williamson on A Black Diaspora airs this Wednesday at around 10 p.m. Easternish. I'll upload part 2 tonight, so you'll see when that time. And so set your reminders to watch it. And, moving forward, I've lined up, or I'm starting to line up people I want to talk to. So there you go.
And you can find your girl on Twitter. Twitter. And Jena got to hear, and I actually, because he does have a degree in music theory, I got a new little song that I've been working on. I sent it to Shane Billowitz to give me feedback on. But maybe I'll share that in the near future. But I'm excited about that shit. And better, and I'll talk about that more next stream. I don't think it's fitting right now to do it. Ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's for the real apples. Yeah, man. You looking like the devil who